What's happening, Wrestle Gang? Today we'll do a quick news and predictions. So, 5 news items from this week in pro wrestling, and then we shall do some predictions for Noche de los Grandes and Clash in Italy happening this Saturday and Sunday, respectively. Some major news for the British independent wrestling scene. So, wrestling wife and husband, Nikki Cross and Big Damo, have acquired the UK independent promotion Progress Wrestling. And I am not familiar with Big Damo in WWE. I was out of wrestling at that time, but I did see him in a match earlier in the year at a Progress Wrestling show that I went to. And of course, Nikki Cross, my main knowledge of her is from WWE. And I am just really happy to see that since her release, she is now making this big move. So really, really excited for what is going to come for the future for Big Damo, Nikki Cross, and Progress Wrestling. Now they are the owners. I'm reading from progresswrestling.com on May 26th, and Nikki and Big Damo say, "We are delighted to be the new co-owners of Progress. We both started in the UK and Ireland and fully believe this is host to the greatest talent pool on earth, and Progress is well positioned to showcase this generation and the next generation. We are also very excited to be the new co-owners of Defy Wrestling, home to the most feverish fan base in the Pacific Northwest. Nikki and I have an affinity with Seattle, and I always had an incredible experience wrestling on the Defy shows in front of the Defiance. We would like to thank Martin Best and Lee McAteer for being wonderful custodians and bringing new levels of professionalism to our industry. They steered Progress after a worldwide pandemic, created an incredible wrestling network in Hooked on Wrestling TV, created a phenomenal working partnership with Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan and Defy in USA, and showed ambition and an incredible drive to give multiple talented men and women visas to compete in the USA and opportunities in many other countries. Our job now is to guide Progress through the coming years, identify new talents, and integrate them with the current phenomenal roster. I'm proud to say we have some of the best wrestlers in the world performing for us right now." I'm not behind the scenes at Progress, so I don't know the inner workings of the owners and this and that, but it can't be a bad thing to have wrestlers running your wrestling promotion. And I am just super happy that Nikki Cross in particular has moved on to this next chapter since being released from WWE. Some more news in the world of wrestling promotion and ownership. New Japan Pro Wrestling, the majority shareholder was Bushiroad, but they have now completed a share transfer, meaning that they are no longer the majority shareholder. I'm reading from NJPW1972.com on May 27th, and they write, "We hereby announce that our largest shareholder, Bushiroad Inc., has concluded a share transfer agreement as of today with TV Asahi Corporation and CyberAgent Inc. regarding Bushiroad shares in our company. As TV Asahi is already a shareholder of our company, this share transfer constitutes an additional acquisition of shares for them. Our company will become a consolidated subsidiary of TV Asahi once the necessary procedures, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I don't say things right, but when I think back on it, I said it right. But anyway, once the necessary procedures have been completed. Currently, we have no plans to make any changes to our various business operations, including the events we organize as a result of this share transfer. We would like to express our gratitude to Bushiroad, which has supported our business for many years as our largest shareholder, and we look forward to working together with TV Asahi and CyberAgent to further expand our business. Thank you very much for your continued support." And they say that you can, read more details in the press release from Bushiroad. Again, I'm not someone behind the scenes who knows loads about this stuff, but they have said that, nothing is going to change. I think when it becomes an ownership or like a shareholder transfer, in a sense of a majority shareholder is no longer and a new majority shareholder is in play, the concern is, will things change? And it seems that they have no plans currently to change the shows, operations, events. So yeah, we'll just see how that goes. There's some talk about FTR's future in AEW, and I'm reading from WrestleZone.com on May 25th, and they write the future of one of AEW's biggest tag teams could soon end up in WWE once again. According to a new report, WWE is showing its interest in FTR after the team lost the AEW World Tag Team Championships in an I Quit match against Adam Copeland and Christian Cage at AEW's Double or Nothing 2026. FTR previously wrestled in WWE as the Revival during the Vince McMahon era. Since joining AEW in 2020, the duo has become one of the top teams in the promotion. A report from Body Slam says Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler signed 4-year AEW contracts in 2023 and are now getting closer to the option year of those deals. There is no sign that they are leaving AEW anytime soon, but conversations about their future and value to the company have reportedly started picking up behind the scenes. Body Slam also reported that people close to the situation believe FTR see themselves as one of AEW's top acts and feel they should be paid like one. WWE's interest has apparently been passed along to the team through mutual contacts, although there have been no confirmed talks or negotiations about a return yet. My major childhood wrestling run was 2001 to 2006. Then I dipped in and out of wrestling until 2024 when I got back into it fully. So I wasn't there to bear witness to FTR in NXT, but I heard great things and I watched that famous match that they had with DIY. Great stuff. And from what I've heard, NXT, great. Main roster, not so great. They were in the Vince McMahon era, and I've heard that they were booked as like comedy fodder, kind of similar to what Triple H did with DIY when, well, just before Tommaso Ciampa left for AEW. Now, here's a few things. If I were Dax and Cash that I would consider in regards to perhaps going back to WWE. One, we smashed it in NXT. Two, on the main roster, albeit under Vince McMahon, weren't booked that great. So you've been there before. You have that experience to know that it may not be such a good idea. Now, Triple H is the one that's looking after the main roster, but so many talent from NXT who were in the Triple H NXT and thought that, okay, now we're going to come up to the main roster and be booked well, haven't been booked well. And then you've got the fact that your AEW colleagues like Andrade have gone to WWE and then returned to AEW. You've got the likes of Aleister Black who returned to WWE and then got released within a year. And then you've got the idea that you guys want to be paid what you're worth, but there's rumors of talent being asked to take pay cuts, namely tag teams like Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. You're probably better off staying with Tony Khan if you want to be paid what you feel you're worth. And then the joke of the century is that you've released all of these tag teams and now WWE apparently want to rebuild their tag team division. If I'm a tag team, I'm looking at you like, is everything okay at home? What do you mean you want to rebuild your tag team division when you had a great tag team division? I can see you here offering 50% pay cuts and you want us for... No. If I'm Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, I'm staying put in AEW. And if I want to go somewhere else, then maybe I do that. But in AEW, you have that freedom. Maybe you renegotiate your contract, you get a little bit more money, and then you spend some time, in New Japan or doing indies. I don't know. But FTR, I think, don't go back. Don't go back. I'm sure by now you've heard about this, but AEW have a brand new pay-per-view called Redemption, and it's going to be on Sunday, July 26th. And I'm super excited about this because I started watching AEW in 2024, and being a new-ish fan, to be part of something, I won't be there, but to be internationally part of something brand new with AEW, I'm really excited about that. And again, it's on July 26th, so it's after Forbidden Door. I think Forbidden Door is on the 28th, if I remember right, on June. Yes. But in regards to Redemption, I'm reading from Wrestling Inc. on May 26th, and they write, AEW president and CEO Tony Khan spoke exclusively with the Toronto Sun about the announcement, stating that he has wanted to bring an AEW pay-per-view to Montreal for some time. Montreal is one of the greatest wrestling cities in the world. There's such a rich history of professional wrestling. This will be a special event. It's the first ever AEW Redemption, and it's also the first ever AEW pay-per-view in Montreal. The crowds have been so fantastic when we've done AEW in Montreal. I've wanted to bring a pay-per-view to Montreal for years. So yeah, AEW Redemption coming July 26th. Last but not least, an update on the Ludwig Kaiser situation. So last week, I think it was Wednesday, he turned himself in for an incident that happened on April 23rd. Apparently in his building, he and Andrea had entered a lift, and a resident, Richard Reap, also entered that lift. And Ludwig and Andrea were reportedly aggressively kissing. And when they got to the 12th floor, Richard Reap said, please have some manners, and Ludwig Kaiser attacked him. Officers say that they observed scratches and redness that matched the reports of the attack. So there was then a follow-up that came from Raj Giri. He tweeted that actually Richard Reap had directed some ice comments at Andrea, which resulted in a bit of a scuffle between him and Ludwig Kaiser, but no punches were thrown. So we've got a police report and we've got a tweet from Raj Giri, both kind of interesting. This tweet kind of makes it seem a bit more realistic as to why there might have been a scuffle. The report just seems like, I don't know, if somebody says, please have some manners, are you going to attack them? But we don't know what the truth is until we know what the truth is, if we ever know what the truth is. However, there's been an update in regards to that tweet from Raj Giri. So I'm reading from WrestleZone.com on May 27th. Fightful Select has since pushed back on the latter report, noting that a number of figures within WWE believe that particular story was planted within the company. There was an unfamiliar number that reached out to several members of the wrestling media with the story, as opposed to Kaiser or Andrea themselves or a member of WWE's team, the outlet wrote. Looking ahead, Kaiser is not expected to have issues traveling to shows for WWE and AAA, as a judge has granted him permission. At the moment, it seems like everything is okay. Of course, Ludwig Kaiser requested to be able to travel for work, which he was granted, and there was a Serenata celebration planned for him on the 23rd of May that was cancelled, but it happened the following day. That man is a star in Mexico. They love him, and I mean this in the most respectful way. The ice story that may have been planted, if it isn't real, at the time of it being, speculated, I can only imagine it endeared the crowd to him more. His girlfriend is Andrea. It feels like Ludwig Kaiser has almost been absorbed into that culture. So it's like, oh, he was fighting for her honor and for our people. If it is true, then fair enough. If it isn't, I'm wondering how it got planted there, who planted it there, what was the intention. But I guess we'll find out. Of course, he has pled not guilty, and the $1,000 bail was actually posted by Walter Gunter, it's being reported. And as of now, there is a pre-trial hearing scheduled for Kaiser in July in Orlando, where the incident happened. Ole, ole. Ole, ole, ole. Listen, let's do some Noche de los Grandes predictions. So I did not realize this is actually going to be a 2-week TV special. So the first part is happening this Saturday, May 30th, and the second part is happening next Saturday on June 6th. I'm in the UK, so I'm going to be watching on YouTube, and I believe it starts at 12 a.m. last time I checked. So for this weekend, this Saturday, we have the mask versus mask match Real El Grande Americano versus Original El Grande Americano. Now, Triple Mania is a little way away. It's in September, I do believe, this year. And we can't drag this out anymore. But it would have been really cool to be able to have this match at Triple Mania, especially with Triple Mania being a 2-night event this year. Albeit a 2-night event separated by a day. They're doing Friday and Sunday. But anyway, we can't drag this out anymore. We're having this match this Saturday, and I'm excited for it. And I do believe the real El Grande Americano, as in Ludwig Kaiser, will be taking the mask off of the original El Grande Americano, Chad Gable, and winning that match. The crowd is going to go crazy. We also have Dr. Wagner III defending the AAA Latin American Championship against Vikingo. I don't know. I feel like I'm making kind of guesses with these predictions because I dip in and out of AAA. Recently, I've been watching it weekly. But Dr. Wagner III, where did he win that? I think he won it. He won it. It wasn't at Triple Mania. I think it was at a show that was before. It was Triple Mania Regia, maybe. I'm not sure, but I know that when he won it, it was like a big moment for him to have won that. So, but it's been a while now, and Vikingo hasn't had a title for a bit. You know what? I'm going to say Vikingo defeats Wagner to become the new Latin American champion. We then have Pagano and Psycho Clown defending the AAA World Tag Team Championship against War Raiders, Ivar and Eric. War Raiders have been in AAA, like, doing their thing. Meanwhile, on Raw, the tag team division doesn't exist. But listen, I don't know. I think Pagano and Psycho Clown apparently have been having some difficulties or like issues with each other. I'm not certain. I'm gleaning that from the commentary I've been listening to in the past few weeks I've been watching every week. I'm going to say Pagano and Psycho Clown retain. And then we have the AAA World Cruiserweight Championship on the line. Laredo Kid defending against Rey Fenix. Of course, Rey Fenix defeated Laredo Kid in a non-title match, earning him a title match in which Laredo Kid won with underhanded means. He used a low blow. Newly announced GM Rey Mysterio said, it's not going to go that way. So you're going to give Rey Fenix another shot at Noche de los Grandes. Because War Raiders, I think, are not going to win the titles, I'm going to say that maybe we have another title change here and Rey Fenix wins the Cruiserweight Championship. Let's go for it. I'm locking it in. So winners, Real El Grande Americano in the mask versus mask. I've got Vikingo defeating Wagner to become the new Latin American champion. I've got Pagano and Psycho Clown retaining the World Tag Team Championship over War Raiders. And I've got Rey Fenix defeating Laredo Kid to become the new World Cruiserweight Champion. Let me know your predictions in the comments. Also, so far announced for week 2 is a 6-woman tag team match. Bailey, La Catalina, and Lola Vice versus Las Toxicas, Flamma, Maravilla, and La Hiedra. These birds be really chirping, innit? I don't know. I'm going to wait until next weekend or next Friday to do the predictions for that one. Last but not least, Clash in Italy happening this Sunday, May 31st. Again, I'm in the UK, so I'll be watching on Netflix and it starts at 6:30 p.m. I've seen some outlets say it starts at 7 p.m., but I took the time from ESPN, put it in a time converter. It says 6:30 p.m. Better early than late, right? As for the card itself, we have Roman Reigns defending the World Heavyweight Championship and his status as Tribal Chief against Jacob Fatu in Tribal Combat. Now, I would love to see Jacob Fatu win this match, and I do think that there's a chance he will win this, but logic tells me that Roman Reigns is going to retain and remain Tribal Chief. However, I'm going to predict that Jacob Fatu wins Tribal Combat, wins the World Heavyweight Championship, and becomes the new tribal chief, and Roman Reigns has to acknowledge him. Let me give the, disclaimer. Really and truly, I think Roman Reigns is winning, but I'm going to say Jacob Fatu wins because I think he might win. And if he does, I can say I predicted it. We've got the undisputed WWE Championship on the line with Cody Rhodes defending against Gunther. I saw that in Liverpool at a house show. He defeated Gunther in a tables match. I don't know. I actually don't know. I think give it to Gunther. Like, yeah. And this is also the opening match, or it's going to be the opening match. It's in the first hour, the non-pay-per-view hour, the free TV hour. I keep saying, you people that are paying for ESPN, £30, or not £30, $30, you should be asking for an hour of your money back, because how can they be putting two world title matches on the free hour, the cable hour? Huh? Anyway, so maybe we get a big title change. Again, I think Cody Rhodes will retain, but I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going out on a limb and saying Gunther becomes the new champion. These first two predictions are absolute chaos. I don't really fully believe them, but I'm going to go with them anyway. I think Roman and Cody retain, but F it. Jacob Fatu and Gunther, new champions. Let's go. We've got Rhea Ripley defending the WWE Championship against Jade Cargill. I do have Rhea Ripley retaining here. She's pinned Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. Jade Cargill can say she's got a pin over Rhea Ripley, which happened at Saturday night's main event, which kind of makes it nice and straightforward for Rhea to retain here, but Jade to still have a leg to stand on, That match is also on the first hour. We also have Becky Lynch defending the Intercontinental Championship against Sol Ruca. I'm quite excited for this program to be a lengthy one, and I'm quite excited for Sol Ruca to win the championship from Becky Lynch. However, I don't think it can be here at this show. I think it's got to be down the line. But if Sol Ruca loses again, no, but she won. She won by DQ at Saturday night's main event. I think Becky Lynch is going to retain here. And then we have Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar in the WrestleMania rematch. So here's what I've said before. Best case scenario, Brock Lesnar stayed away. Obafemi retired him, but he's here now. So next best case scenario, Obafemi beats Brock Lesnar and he goes away. Yeah. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that Brock Lesnar is going to win here and beat Obafemi to... No, there's no championship on the line, so he's not going to become anything. But to make it 1-1, and hopefully they then have the rubber match at SummerSlam where Obafemi goes over again. So let's run through that. Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. Logic tells me it's going to be Roman Reigns, but I want to go out on a limb and say Jacob Fatu. Cody Rhodes and Gunther. Logic tells me Cody Rhodes, but again, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Gunther. Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. I've got Rhea Ripley retaining. Becky Lynch and Sol Ruca. I've got Becky Lynch retaining. And then Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, unfortunately, Brock Lesnar winning. And my sweetie pies, my honey darlings, my cupcakes, that is it for this video. Let me know your thoughts on the news we discussed. Let me know your predictions for Noche de los Grandes. Let me know your predictions for Clash in Italy. And I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like this video if you like this video. Subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss a video. And again, I'll see you in the next one.